Rising, Grand Rising. This is the Straight Talk Morning Show on the Straight Talk Network. My name is Andre Hill, your host, and we have our co-hosts and engineers. One co-host, an elder of the community, an elder of UAAR, United Aboriginal American Republic. Terrence Lake, how you doing this morning, sir?
Grand Rising, everyone. I'm doing great. I was out a little earlier today, and we got almost a summer day. It might reach the 70s here. I can't wait to get out there in those elements.
Yeah, buddy.
I noticed the snowbirds down here in Florida were packing up and heading back up north, so they're running to escape the heat and the mosquitoes.
Okay, smart
Yeah,
thing to do.
yeah, man. I saw them. They was big campers, cars in tow, and they want paradise on earth. I said, no snow in the wintertime and no heat in the summertime. So they migrate back and forth.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
yeah, so you're in the 60s now and you're headed to the 70s, huh?
Head to the 70s, maybe today, because it's so nice out there right now. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. It's the last 2 days have been very beautiful here. Just peaceful, a light breeze. Cannot complain. Cannot complain. So also we have co-host and engineer. Hey man, what's going on, Andre Hill Jr.? What's going on with your generation? What are they talking
Hmm. Trying to see what kind of wake and destruction Trump is going to leave over the next 4 years.
Is he going to
So,
last that long, though? They're still trying to get him out.
oh yeah, well, I think how long did Kennedy last when he was trying to do some good things, but when they decided to take him out?
Almost 3 years, wasn't it?
Well, that's what I'm trying to remember. I know it was in '63, but the
Right.
election was in what, '60?
60, right.
Yeah. Okay.
And he took office 61.
I got
63, he was assassinated.
you. Okay. All right. The madness. Yeah. The madness prevails. So okay. So this is kind of an open discussion. If you're tuning in, we want you to express your thoughts because we're at a very critical period right now. And I constantly scan the news services, and I came up with this topic. Let me read the topic. This is what I post on Facebook Friday. Good evening, family. Tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Straight Talk Network. You can get us on YouTube at the highlight, the HTT YouTube, or you can catch us on my Facebook page at Andre Hills TV. All of Lucifer's fallen soldiers have reincarnated, and they are in position to initiate their last stance of evil and genocide to the human race. Their job was to corrupt the entire planet with selfish agendas through deception and murder. We will identify them and what alternatives we have. We meaning the mass population, the 95%, who outnumbers them 10 to 1, 9 to 1. We will identify them and what alternatives we have to evict them from the earth. It's a very simple formula, and it must be adhered to, or we will suffer the same consequences of their demise as expressed in our book, Revenge. Now, Chairman, I'm really disturbed and about how our government, the taxes that we contribute to this government, the last 400 years that we contribute to this government, are still constantly providing bombs to murder children over in Gaza, now Lebanon. And it seems as if there is an attempt to incorporate all of that area over there into an axis of evil controlled by mentally deranged psychotic maniacs and dictators. And it's disturbing. And the disturbing part, is we are participating, what's the legal terminology? Well, anyway, it'll come to me. But we're participating by default.
Aiding and abetting.
Well, no, that's not. It's very simple terminology, but it's not in my brain. So, and so I don't want to sound repetitive, but I always use this phrase that Malcolm used about those chickens coming home to roost, and or the analogy of if a friend pulls up and say, "Hey man, I just stole this car. Come on, let's go ride," and you get in that car, and when the police catch up with you, all of you are going to jail, right? So all of the consequences. So this show is dedicated to an appeal to common decency. It's dedicated to, what happened in Germany when the so-called Ashkenazi Jews were exterminated. What happened in Africa, in the Congo, with Leopold? I mean, how was a small group of people able to initiate mass genocide? And this is what's going on right here in our country. Our country is supporting Benjamin Netanyahu, and he's just like, send me all the weapons you can, and I'm gonna drop them wherever I can. And it's obvious that this man wants to keep a war going, because if he doesn't, there's some kind of policy like you can't be indicted when you're at war. So he's gonna keep this war going until World War III is initiated, just to save his ass from going to jail. And this is a special kind of sickness in a human being that will murder babies, children, and I think on the last show, Chairman, I talked about, the penalty of murdering children because of the environment that they are in. They haven't had a chance to make a choice. They haven't had a chance to make a decision on, what they want to be, or what religion, that they want to practice or what have you. And you just snuff them out, innocent little babies. How do you not think that there's karma to associate with that? And we have a film that we're going to play about karma and Leopold and the devastation he caused in South Africa. But Chairman, what is your rationale with this mindset of just murdering, just to take real estate, take land? When there's enough land, you done said it. You said it many times. There's enough land on this planet for all of us.
That's right. Exactly. And it's the people that don't believe that there is a God. So they can go out and do horrendous things and not have a conscience. It's what they want. They want to be on top of the mountain, and that's been displayed throughout history. Certain leaders have been dictators and they have no morals about killing kids, bombing villages, homes, hospitals. That's the only way I could see it. They don't believe that there's a God. They don't believe that there's repercussions, that there's just dues that you got to pay. Some way, somehow, you're going to have to live with the things that you do in this life. We all got some debt to pay. If we do something wrong, there are consequences. You might not suffer as much as somebody else that goes out and kill 100 people. But, if you just go and innocently kill someone, I say innocent, that person didn't do anything to you and you went and killed them, there's a price to pay. But if you're like Hitler and you go out and kill millions of people, there's your clock is running out. You know, when you leave here, you've got to pay. It's just the way it is, the way I see it. You know, because how could a God create such a beautiful uh, dimension? And we know that this is a beautiful place in a lot of ways, but it's just certain individuals, these dictators, they want to stir up stuff so they can stay in control. They don't want free education. They want to change the education. They want to manipulate the education because they know that there's no other way that they can stay on top. You know, you got these little black geniuses, you know, that can do almost anything. They're solving all kind of medical problems. They're creating history by graduating from universities at 10, 11, 12 years old, teaching grown folks, you know. So what's the problem? You know, there's something that's got to be done and we got to do it. We can't just fold our hands and bow our heads and pray, oh God, please stop it. We have got to stop it. We got to. You know, sometimes there's a sacrificial lamb. Let it be, let it be. But somebody's got to pay a price for all this madness that's going on. Because there's a lot good that's going on too. But it takes just one stupid person to make a whole nation look bad, you know? And that's just the way it is. We got to stop it. We got to stop it some way, somehow. Hey, I'll sacrifice my life to bring on peace. You know, I'm damn near 80 years old. You know, it wouldn't matter to me in a sense, the way I feel, if I knew it would bring on a better world for humanity. Hey, I'd put my head on the chopping block, but I'd have to be guaranteed that it's going to be right.
So you got to aim straight. So Chairman, all right. So evidently the God factor don't work with these demons. You know, the book that Neil and Son wrote, Lucifer's Revenge, um, it deals with the progression and the development of the human species and all of the changes we went through with the experiment, the different Genesis projects. And these you know, certain humans, they don't believe in God. They know that they're extraterrestrials, and so they look at it as, you know, a survival of the fittest. So if they decide, well, this species, I can't coexist with this one particular culture, so I have to exterminate them because they're better than me, you know.
Right.
And so in their sick mind, they have reconstructed a matrix that I'm doing this for my children. I'm doing this to survive. But what the in the book Lucifer's Revenge, it talks about in the direction where we're headed is that the supreme being or these advanced scientists or alien cultures that has been around for millions of years, they know that there must be a christening or there must be some kind of indoctrination to every species in the universe. At some point, they reach this level in their spiritual evolution, and the masses have to demonstrate as a collective that, you know, this is ignorant. We all created equal, and in your famous words, Chairman, can we all just get along? So, you know, the Trumpster, the Musk guy, and there are other little dictators. They coordinated this all over the planet because this is what you know what we were talking about in our book Lucifer's Revenge. There were many of these demons that were relegated to the planet to test the human species.
Yes.
And here's something that I know I can guarantee you. They are not going to stop until they achieve their objective. And the only way to stop their objective is where a collective of groups, like in the case of World War II, a collective of different countries came together and say this evil is not going to stop. It's rampant, and it's going to spread all over the rest of the planet unless we come together. And so even in the Americas, even though we had desegregated or segregated army, the black folks, they joined and signed up anyway under stressful conditions and said, well, we understand what this man is going to do. So we're going to sign up in this segregated army and do our own thing. The black army, they got together, whatever they focused on, they were very good at, and so I do have a video that I want to play about the young lady. What's her name, man? Over in Africa, and she's encouraging the collectiveness, with melanated people, because once again I've talked about who's qualified to fix this problem. The coming together of melanated people can generate a very high frequency to kind of shut this ignorance down. But at this particular date, it seems as if these demons know that there's a clock on this thing, and they're moving aggressively to put the planet on its knees to be in position to worship them as kings and gods, And so, I wondered about in Germany or in Africa, what was going on with the masses, and how were they, a small group of people, able to manipulate themselves in a position to murder so many people to accomplish their agenda. So we're gonna just play this tape here of this young lady that's been very outspoken. She has a tremendous ego, and we question her intent, but she appears to be sincere. Let's play this tape and then let's respond as to what we need to do next.
They have shown us that the bully can be defeated. What is happening in Burkina Faso, in Mali, in Niger, is just the beginning of a revolution that is way past due for Africa. Africa must unite, and Burkina Faso has shown us the way. They have opened the doors. They have shown us that the bully can be defeated.
Let's say that. Okay, Chairman, what do you think about that tape?
Oh, I think it's right on. The bully has to be defeated. It's like I said on several shows, it takes 1,000 people to build the Empire State Building, but it only takes one to destroy it. And you've got 1,000 good people in the United States, but you got a few that are bad and evil and are very destructive if necessary, if it's gonna, interfere with what they're wanting to do, what their agenda is. They don't care about dropping a few bombs, some of them, and the more bombs they drop, the more their friends could build more. So who's making the money? Not the people. It's just a lot of lives being lost because of this madness. But it's got to stop. We don't need it. And I think there's enough people on this planet that can come together and put all this madness to an end. It's got to stop.
So, Chairman, you are in basic agreement that once these demon souls initiated this agenda, they're not just going to volunteer and give up and say, you know what? I think we're doing wrong. They're going to follow through with this agenda, and ultimately, I'm getting reports from Tennessee, and if you're watching this show and send us a message. Are you getting reports of people losing their jobs? I got a report from the family up in Tennessee that a young man just got married, black man, and bought a house, got him a good government job, and now he's, you know, his career, he went to college for 4 years and worked on getting a degree so he could be accepted. And all of this is unraveling. So now he's got a mortgage, a wife, and no job. You know, and so this happened. And my question is America, the diverse cultures, will they just sit by idle and be escorted to the gas chambers? And that's what these demons intend to do. They intend to, the ethnic cleansing is their game. They have to do it under ethnic cleansing agenda, because they're going to tell one group, we got to do this to protect you, so you need to aid and abet in killing this particular group. You know, but behind the scenes, it's just evil. They don't care about one group or the other.
That's so true. And they're doing it through our food too.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is just a mass agenda. Now, another thing, that excuse they're using is that in 50 years, the population on the planet has nearly doubled. And so they are taking the God position that, you know, if the population doubled in 50 years, is what it's going to do in another 50 years, and we'll be able to sustain ourselves here on this planet. You know, these are the type of taxes they use to justify the murdering of other humans. And so, you know, I'm just searching, how do we articulate this position? Because, you know, I was reflecting last night, and I'm saying, these people in these different regions where there was mass genocide, you know, they were just sitting at home, just surviving day by day, trying to figure out what's the next move for the next week. And then all of a sudden they're pressed into a situation where they are about to be exterminated. So what did they do? What was their state of mind? How could they have avoided this genocide? Chairman, I mean, we're sitting around, we're doing this talk show. We get up every Saturday and we do this talk show. And how do we build a collective to say, we're gonna shut this crap down right now? And I'm gonna throw that question to both of us. Now, I know you just said that you would be willing to sacrifice yourself if you knew that it was going to be, you know, a sacrifice worth this investment. But you know, I think that all of the people are just sitting around, and I don't think that we really know what we're going to do as a collective.
That's true. As a collective, I mean, you got groups like ours that have an agenda, trying to bring the people together, informing them with this show, you know, but you got more than us that are just sitting back, you know, waiting for the weekend. Like they say, living for the weekend, you know, and that's not going to get it. You know, we've got to unite. We've got to come together. You know, we got to have respect for each other. You know, if we don't, we'll all be in trouble. You know, we'll end up with a war. You know, if it's not a race war, it'll be a war to survive. You know, people taking from each other just to survive. You know, there are a lot of things that can happen that don't look good if we don't come together. But we've got the power. You know, our educational system could, you know, do better. Instead of trying to take education from us, they need to give us more. Because if we were better educated, we wouldn't have the problems that we have right now. Everything would just work out fine. You know, with this younger generation, you know, they learn so much. They've got a lot that they can teach us. And a lot of them are teaching us when it comes to computers, you know, but we got to do everything in our power to make this change, to make it better. You know, our thinking process has got to be more positive, that yeah, we can make this work. Yeah, with this new vehicle that they got that can operate by water, Why are they trying to stop it? You got 3/4 of this whole surface of this planet is covered with water, so you'd never run out, you know. So why are they trying to stop us from having this here new energy form so we won't have to worry about gas? You know, there's something wrong with this picture, and we got to make the correction.
But Chairman, the point I'm trying to get at, this is a very delicate period right now, because these demons, all these demons are reincarnated over and over again. And they know that this is the last chance for them to create a evil utopia for themselves and enslave all of the people that survived this genocide. This is their agenda. They're at the point of no return. They have to go through and follow through on the next steps. Like right now, they're just, whatever law, whatever Constitution say, they're ignoring it. Whatever the judges say, all they're doing is exposing the judges that's opposing them, and then they're going to send their henchmen out to disconnect them. So this is the very critical period where the humans need to shut this down right now, because it has been proven. Even, I was watching a documentary about Putin last night, and it was a docudrama. It wasn't real Putin. It was an actor, and he was basically standing by, and these demons was initiating killing off all of the competition, and even rigging the elections. Now, I don't know how true this documentary is. I understand Putin's basic demeanor or his spiritual DNA, but in order for a small group of people to maneuver into power, like they've done with Hitler, Putin, any other dictatorship, Napoleon, it was this period right where we are right here, and at the end of March, right now, we're in that period where we got to make a choice to shut this evil down, or it's going to go to the next level. It's already at the point of no return, because they've already initiated the exposure of any opposition. So after they've eliminated all of and that's the only thing right now standing between them and their objective are the judges. The judges don't necessarily control the military. They control the sheriff, or they can get the sheriff to go lock up these particular criminals. But these demons know, and they have a written plan of the next steps to dismantle the legal system in order to acquire their objective. And so this is the very critical period. Something, if nothing is initiated right now to stop this next phase, any of the laws, the Constitution, that's going to be attacked. He's already said you don't have to worry about voting anymore. So that means he intends to dismantle the Constitution so that a dictatorship can be installed. Anytime, and this is not just in America, this is happening all over the planet. These dictators are moving in position to align themselves with all the other dictators so they can anoint themselves as gods and kings. Sharon, let me ask, let's see what my young generation, what my son is thinking here. Hey man, you see this is happening. You read the history books on how, so mostly your generation is going to be affected. They're going to be the ones that's going to be locked up and marched off to the gas chambers and exterminated. What are your feelings about that? When you know that that's their objective right now?
What are my feelings about it?
Yeah, what would your generation? What are they saying? On the chats and social media, or do they know what's getting ready to happen? Is this show to show revealing what the next step, that they are moving to massive genocide all over the planet. So what are your generation gonna do about this?
Well, you asked me a couple questions. What are my fellas and what are my generation gonna do about it?
Yeah, both.
So, my feelings. I think, I think my generation is capable and even participating in at least diagnosing the problem correctly here, which is deeming these parasitic elites as just that, parasites. As a human body, a human global body, we have to look at these parasitic elites as if they are a virus or a disease. Most of my generation is aware of that. I'd say about only 20% of us are doing what we need to do to survive the next chess move. But a good majority of us are, like Chairman said, they just living for the weekend. Right? But again, I will say this: 20% of us, my generation and below, worldwide, regardless of race, color, or creed, are doing what we need to do to counter the next chess move, which is this. Now, what you're about to hear me say, not too many people are going to be able to articulate it like this, but they understand it overall. So we did write in Lucifer's Revenge, the book, the circumstances here. And, using the analogy, countering a chess move, interestingly enough, not only is this a chess game, it's a time chess game as well. The opposition knows they have only so much time to make a move. Right. And when you got only so much time to make a move, you can't sit back, because we all play chess here. You can't sit back here. You can't sit back and try to foresee 5 or 6 moves down the line. You really try to make a move that you can maybe calculate 2 or 3 steps down the line, right? So, and the time chess move is based on this, and this is a little more confidence that it's going to be a little, it's going to be all right. So, this planet, exists as humanity. We've been doing this rise and fall thing for a long time. We've been doing this up and down civilization, rising and falling thing for a while. And every parasitic elite that have been infiltrating any civilization in the past always came to this point as well. So where they said, all right, my window of opportunity is up. My hibernation is now on the way. And I've built up a karmic debt within my window. And I know during my hibernation, I'm gonna be rectifying my karmic debt. They know that as well. Now, like you say, they are gonna go for the gusto, yeah. But keep in mind also too, a parasite's probably most keen attribute is its survival instinct. Meaning, if a parasite gets inside of you, yeah, it may seem like it's trying to kill you, but the truth of the matter is, it knows if it kills you, then it also kills itself. It doesn't have a host anymore. All right. So in the idea of massive genocide, when we really think about that, massive genocide is not a real chess move that they want to make. It may be something that they flaunt as a fear factor, but the truth of the matter is, if they, they eliminate a majority of the population, who's going to do all the grunt work? Who's gonna believe in the money that they convinced everybody is buying? So in other words, who's gonna drive them around in their cars? Who's gonna keep maintaining the basic resource infrastructure for them to live day to day? Same way a parasite gets inside your body, it doesn't want to shut down. It's not going to affect your ability to eat, because if you don't eat, the parasite don't eat. All right. So again, I'm able to articulate this. I'm not boasting, but I study this thing practically every day. I was talking to one of my really good childhood friends a couple of days ago. She's a Capricorn. She was born 4 days before me. She's a Capricorn opposite, like, and she's a woman, so it's kind of interesting, how we able to bounce back and forth our perception on all of this. And we were having pretty much this conversation, and we were looking at it, looking at the overall perception of a lot of humans, and saying to ourselves, basically asking what you just asked me. What are all of our constituents going to do? The ones that just act like they ain't paying attention. And this is our conclusion. Everybody ain't gonna make it. Everybody ain't gonna make it, because we're aware of people in our generation who just not only are they either deliberately or just unaware of what's going on. Some of them are very well aware of what's going on, and they buying into this stuff. They're buying into this system as well. So we concluded like this. We went real high. We went all the way up to the most high vantage point to look down on this. So for a lot of these humans came here to experience this season as it is, and they're here to come and go. They're here to come and go. If this is, if you are my age, let's say anywhere around 40, and you're not actively seeking to rectify or let's say rid the human body of this parasitic virus, then we just assume that you're complicit in it. That's what we assume. That's what people my generation, this is how we view in the rest of our generation. We just assume that they like it. This is what they want to do. That's what they're here for. That's what they want. And as I don't want to say cold as it seems, we've come to the conclusion that a lot of them are just simply not going to make it, and we have made peace with that. And in other words, we have friends, mind you, I'm talking to my childhood friend. We have a lot of mutual friends. Ones we went to school with, grew up with, and we wonder what's such and such doing nowadays, what they into. And we say, well, are they not seeing what we seeing? Right? They're not seeing this the way we seeing it. Well, we look at it like this. We'll be here to be a beacon of light if they want to get on the side of the body and the side of the Most High, and like I keep redundantly saying, get rid of this parasite, But if they don't, we just assume, hey, that's what they want to do. So, but I'm gonna land this plane on this, kind of bringing it back full circle. There are a couple of, well, it seems like there's two different agendas in America based on, the illusion of we have two different political parties, Republicans and Democrats. They're not. They're the same people. They're two different wings of the same bird, right? And I know, Trump threw everybody for a loop, and right now he's seeming like a tyrant. And yeah, he is acting like a tyrant. And his his goals, his missions, what he's doing right now is in sync with, let's say, whatever Democratic president was going to get in office and do as well. Let me explain what I mean. The illusion of two different choices. If there would have been another Democrat that they put in office, and I mean that very literally, they would have put in office, they would have had a script that they would have, abided by, which would have been more close to transhumanism. That would have been their thing. Transhumanism, which is also genocide. That's also genocide. Transhumanism is also genocide. I'll explain that a little bit more too. What Trump is doing, the Republican side, their whole idea is a little bit more conservative. Well, their agenda is to just destabilize the way of life in America as we know it, which will throw everybody off. It will, or the majority. Most people ain't willing to give up their comforts right now, what they used to. And also too, a totalitarian government is what Trump's agenda is right now. A totalitarian government and transhumanism, that is the parasitic elite's ultimate goal. In other words, have a one world government where these parasitic elites still have everybody believing in the units that they create, so that we still scrap and fight and kick for them every day. But for the generation, the much younger generation, I would say 20 years down the line, within this totalitarian government, they want to have them all tied up in virtual reality. That's the long-term plan. Why? Because while they want to go into hibernation season, they know that the window of vibration for them to operate on the surface of the planet among the masses of people is closing. They need a new realm, a new platform, a new place to where they can control the people. That's in the digital world. That's what that is. That's what they need.
All right, let me. Okay, I get that part. I understand the next steps of what these demons are doing. But here's something that your generation needs to understand, or should understand, not saying anything. Okay, these demons, they still have human bodies. They got to drink water, they got to eat food. Most of their wives don't want to deal with them anymore, so they got to have sex, because that's one of the driving forces, to be able to subdue women or men to their desires, and without any opposition. So I think your generation needs to start preparing a offensive attack on how do you take away their pleasures of this earth. You really, this is war, so they want some sex. So you got to get to some women to make it very uncomfortable for them to have sex the way they want to do it. When they drink water, you gotta make it uncomfortable. You gotta contaminate their water. Or when they eat their food, you got to put something in their food. You got to make these demons very uncomfortable, because their intent is to murder you right now. If you don't submit to them as a god or a king, they intend to kill you. And we've seen it in history and over again. But we're getting pretty close. Let's watch Leopold, and let's see how his agenda went to exterminate. They talk about the Jews, 6 million. There were 18? I think it was 18 million Africans that Leopold murdered.
Butcher. Eventually, karma came for King Leopold II. His son was born with a chilling deformity, one that mirrored Leopold's most horrific crimes. In Belgium, King Leopold II was hailed as the Builder King for the building projects he commissioned, but overseas in the Congo Free State, lay the horrific truth. Leopold was a butcher. The French Revolution had impacts far beyond Paris. As the guillotines rolled into the Place de la Concorde, Leopold II's grandfather had to run for his life, fleeing to the United Kingdom before dying 2 years later. Leopold's mother, Louise of Orleans, always considered sensitive and fragile, was devastated and followed him to the grave later that same year. The teenage Leopold II was losing family left and right, but then he found someone to mend his broken heart. 3 years after his mother's death, he married Marie Henriette of Austria. Much like Leopold, the people of Belgium fell in love with Henriette for her lively and energetic personality and benevolent disposition. She seemed to be everything that Leopold II was not. His official public career started in 1855 as a senator, and as the heir apparent to the monarchy, he didn't waste any time voicing his opinions, no matter how controversial they were. He became a vocal advocate for expanding Belgium's colonial holdings, touring regions in Asia and Africa looking for prospects. On December 10th, 1865, King Leopold I died, and 1 week later, his son, Leopold II, took his oath of office and became King of the Belgians. Despite the horrors he would unleash on the Congolese people, at home in Belgium, Leopold was actually a progressive figure. Some of his biggest legislative accomplishments included massive social reforms. He even gave workers the right to form unions. He passed a series of child labour laws that protected Belgium's youth from exploitation, and even instituted something of a weekend, giving workers Sundays off. Grimly ironic, given what he was about to do in the Congo Free State. Part of Leopold II's grand vision included a vast, sprawling overseas empire made up of cash-rich colonies. But his actions betrayed his true intentions. He only seemed interested in acquiring colonies for himself as a private citizen, using money from the government. At first, he set his sights on the Philippines. He believed that Queen Isabella II of Spain, the incumbent colonial power in the Philippines, was weak, and therefore eager to sell off her holdings. However, his ambassador, sensing the offence it would cause, never relayed his offer. When Isabella II lost her crown in 1868, Leopold made another move to buy the Philippines. There was just one problem. He couldn't afford it. He tried to devise a plan that would have made the Philippines into an independent state, meaning that a private citizen could purchase it. When that plan was unsuccessful, he set his greedy sights somewhere else: Africa. For the better part of a decade, Leopold worked in vain to acquire colonies throughout Africa and Asia, but by 1876 it was plainly obvious that he would have to change his strategy. He established an international scientific and philanthropic association called the International African Society. In reality, it was no charitable organisation. It was a private holding company, owned by him. He then hired the services of the explorer Henry Morton Stanley and set him off in the direction of the Congo to establish a colony. With some clever diplomacy, Leopold managed to get most of Europe and the United States to recognise him as this newly claimed territory's sovereign. At the conclusion of the Berlin Conference in 1885, Leopold finally realised his ambition. Belgium had just become a huge colonial power. The newly minted Congo Free State was nearly 80 times larger than Belgium itself. And Leopold had it all to himself, to rule over with his private army, the dreaded Force Publique. The first of the Congo's natural resources to be exploited was ivory. Although highly lucrative, Leopold wasn't satisfied. It wasn't bringing in enough money to fund his grand ambitions in Belgium. But then a sudden and sharp increase in the demand for rubber changed everything. The Congo Free State had plenty of natural resources that Leopold could harvest for his personal and political gain, and rubber had the potential to be the most lucrative. But harvesting the sap from rubber plants required hours upon hours of grueling labour. Back at home in Belgium, Leopold continued to champion the rights of common labourers. However, all the way down in the Congo Free State, he adopted a very different policy. With his new need for cheap and plentiful labour, Leopold jettisoned his obligations from the Berlin Conference and dropped all pretense of running a charitable organisation. What ensued was pure horror. Having shut out much of the outside world, Leopold was free to do as he pleased in the Congo Free State. Using his force publique, he forced the native population to work, collecting sap to make rubber, which he then sold for exorbitant prices. The people of the Congo Free State never saw a penny, but they did see something else. Suffice to say, the people didn't willingly.
Okay. So, all right. So what I was hoping to see is the trend leading up to their primary objective. These demons, they die and then they're reborn. And right now, all of these guys, Leopold, Hitler, all of them have reincarnated and they are living as existing among us right now. And they still have this demonic, sick thirst for power and control and to become gods, individual gods. And so I was hoping that you can see the progression of the moves that are being made by these demons to get in position to acquire power. They are driven by greed. They're driven by a economic system of control. And so, so if a lot of our people sitting back wondering, well, what's going to happen next? This is what's going to happen next. These are the steps. Once these demons commit to their agenda, they cannot turn back. Once they get past different stages and they see no resistance, they go on to the next stage and the next stage. And they're at the point of no return right now. They've already implemented the different phases of dismantling the judges. And these are not just in the United States. This is all over the world. They're dismantling the judges, the last line of defense. And the problem, and this is what the demons know, that most of these judges and most of these people that are in position, they really can't say a whole lot because they're benefiting from white supremacy. Whether they're Black, Caucasian, Asian, Hispanic, if they're in these positions, they're benefiting because they get a check. So there's not a whole lot of resistance. So ultimately, the boots on the ground, the average day man and woman, we have to focus on, they need food, they need water, and they have these exorbitant sexual desires. And so this is where you shut them down. You have to make life very uncomfortable for them. You have to start organizing an agenda to shut them down, or they're going to go on to the next step. And they're doing it in stages. And we've seen it, Chairman and I, we've seen it through history, the different stages, we read about it, how they move in the direction of where they're going. They're not going to turn back. So you sit back wondering, well, who is Jesus coming to save us? Or, Chairman, I think you sent me a video with Brian the news commentators talking about there was a mothership headed this way.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I feel they're basically already here. Just we don't have the technology to detect them, and what I'm getting from my downloads is that they've actually given certain people in our government so much time to make things right. And I mean, make things right on a country scale and a global scale. And if they don't do it, they're going to intervene. This has got some of our government shaking in their boots, that they know that there's something coming down the tube that's really, really huge. And we can't defeat them because their technology is much more advanced than ours. So the best thing we could do is just try to get it together, make it right, and make it good for everybody. That way, as long as everybody's involved, you ain't got nothing to worry about. But if you only got a chosen few, then there's going to be a problem. Because what about me? Why am I being denied? I mean, I've been denied the majority of my life with different jobs, but I'm not working now. But what about my kids? Do they have to go through what I went through? Can we change things and make it fair? Because that's the biggest problem. Things ain't fair. But that's where the extraterrestrials are going to come into play and make things right. Just like how they took that one space uh, missile that was going out in space, had them nuclear weapons on it, and that extraterrestrial came up into the view and went around that vehicle and disarmed it, just like how some of these nuclear weaponry that we have in the ground, that they're shutting them down offline. We know that they got more power than us because we wouldn't able to do what they did. So we got to get it together and make things right. And then it'll be good for everybody. That's the whole purpose for coming to planet Earth, to try to learn how to live in harmony with each other. But like you say, some of these demons, they some way just took control financially and warmongerly wise, and they're disrupting everything on this planet. They're stopping this heavenly environment that we should be living in. And that's where people got to come together and just put an end to these demonic individuals and make it right. Make that heavenly environment on earth that we were put here to create. And it's in us to do it. We just got to do it.
All right. So Chairman, I look at the alien factor from a different perspective, because they're gathering here with around the planet, and they are observing. They're watching each and every one of us. The statement that you made, you ready to sacrifice yourself because that where these demons are headed, they intend to destroy your children and your children's children. So I'm the same way. I'm thinking, okay, I'm not gonna settle, for them marching our people off, murdering them, and doing the things that they're doing. So I'm thinking of how can I contribute to their demise? Is that the right way to do it? Because I think we've gone beyond the point of no return, even acquiring a frequency to dismantle them. That is still an option on the table, because if enough of us come together and say, we're going to focus our spiritual energy to these extraterrestrials, to encourage them, to demonstrate to them that we need them to destroy these demons, and go ahead, pack them up and take them off where you could, because they are here to collect these demons when the objective has been acquired. They're gonna sit back and see just how far these demons gonna take this planet. And when we demonstrate, whether you are a good old boy Caucasian in the South, or a slickster in New Jersey, or a cool guy in LA, all of you are gonna have to come together on one accord and start saying, we want these entities removed, and you got to demonstrate it. And that's what these ETs are sitting back, they're watching to see. Are you just going to submit that and allow them to continue? Because you know what they're going to do. So if you're sitting back wondering, well, I wonder what they're going to kill you. This is their objective. If you are opposed to them worshiping them as a god or king, if you are opposed to that, which I am, then the agenda is to destroy it. Now, there's certain entities that they know not to touch because game over. I'm not worried about myself, but so this has just been a candid discussion. If you're sitting back wondering, what is the agenda? What is he going to do? Yeah, he intend to become a king and a god, and you are to worship him, a human being who eats and crap just like you do. He wants to be worshipped, And this is the sick, psychotic mentality of these entities, So are we going to sit back and allow them to go to the next stage? They're going to test the next stage. Each level they're going to test it. So you need to start forming your alliances right now. If you keep praying to the Christianity that the Caucasians set up through the Catholic Church, it's going to be ineffective. If you tap into the God source within you individually, and then come together and say, this is wrong, we're going to collectively shut these demons down, then you could be effective, and that's where we are right now. I'm getting into the ET mode. I'm kind of sitting back and like, okay, I'm here to help, but it's going to take the collective. It's going to take a collective effort to start thinking we need to destroy these demons. We know they eat food, they drink water, they need somewhere to live. We can make all those things uncomfortable for them. And that's my strategy right now is to encourage the people to start thinking how you're going to make them uncomfortable, and that weakens them. And these ETs that are in our atmosphere right now, they're going to pack these demons up. They know who they are. They just reincarnated Leopold, Hitler, Jeffrey Dahmer, all these mass murderers, these devious, mentally deranged, psychotic maniacs. These are the same entities that were defeated by the High Command many, many thousands of years ago, and they are still demented, and they have not started to correct their souls to turn around from darkness and come back to the light. So, hey, this has been the Straight Talk Network, the Straight Talk Morning Show. Chairman, do you have any closing words?
No, I think we've said enough. The main thing is just organizing, get it together, because we got to stop it. If we don't, it's going to be hell to pay.
This is a point in history where just before massive genocide, you see what they did in Gaza. They murdered all those people, and then told them, you got to go find somewhere else to live. You can't live in your homeland anymore. And now they're aiming at Lebanon. And this Ben Netanyahu, he's just like, well, Trump want to do this? I'm with it because I know that if I stop fighting this war, I'm going to have to be indicted for crimes that I've committed and go to jail. So he's like, I don't want to go to jail. So he's going to go all the way with the agenda unless we stop them as a collective.
Right. That's right.
So be thinking about that. They drink water, they eat food, they need housing, they need clothing. All that stuff can be contaminated, make them very uncomfortable. That's a start. And then the rest of it, we're going to do more shows. But that's the only strategy I'm getting in my downloads right now. Hey, Junior, you got any more closing word on that and on this topic?
No. We 5 minutes past the hour. I think it was a good show. I'm gonna close it on out. This has been the Straight Talk Network show. We love y'all as usual. Peace out. We'll see you next week.
Peace out.